Alright, hello guys. In today's video we're going to be talking about multiple tornado events that are coming up. I actually have two to talk about within the next 3 days. Now before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now for today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you really think that the tornado alley is shifting eastward permanently, or do you think we're just in a pattern in the last 10 or 20 years that has really encouraged more tornadoes to the east? If you're not aware of that, you can search it up, but the tornado alley has actually shifted eastward from our more original area to more of like the deep south, the Ohio Valley, Kentucky areas like that. All right, now leave a comment for that and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's take a look at today's categorical outlook, and today is Thursday, May 21st, and it's going to last until Friday, May 22nd at about 8 a.m. That's when that's going to end. And you can see we have two slight risk areas there, one for Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, and then one just for Texas. And I'm mostly concerned about that northern one that includes Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and we'll talk about why right now. So here's our wind outlook, and you can see they're actually equal. We have 15% chance of damaging wind within both of those slight risk areas. And as we look at the hail, same story, except we have a hatched region up there to the northern one. And the reason for this is because we're going to see supercell development in that more northern slight risk. The National Weather Service has touched on this and they've mentioned this, but we are looking at the chance for supercell development earlier on within our severe weather event today. So we're about to move on. We're going to take a look at the tornado chance for that northern area, and then we're going to move on to day 2 and 3. Alright, and here it is. We're taking a look at that tornado chance. You can see we have 3 different areas of 2% chance of tornadoes. That's pretty minimal. There is chances for tornadoes there in Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas right there on that corner, and also for southern North Carolina. But the most concerning one, take those ones seriously, but our most concerning one is this one for northern Texas, western Oklahoma, and then western Kansas. You can see we have our 2% chance, which is very large, and then we also have a 5% chance there in Oklahoma and Kansas. That's where we're expecting some supercell development, and that's really going to lead to the chance of tornadoes, a pretty enhanced chance for tornadoes actually as well. All right, so let's get a little bit into our modeled guidance for this area. Here's the heat of the day today, and you can see we're going to get into the mid to upper 80s for this 5% chance region there for Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, which is going to be definitely sufficient for severe weather, obviously. Then let's take a look at our simulated radar now. So this is going to be maybe about 4 or 5 p.m., and you can see for Kansas, we're going to start to see thunderstorms developing for northwestern Kansas. These are eventually going to make their way down southward, but let's look at that bulk shear quickly. Now, we have a good, sufficient amount of bulk shear around, so these purples and pinks especially indicating areas of higher bulk shear, but the blues, the deeper blues, and even the purple colors are going to be enough for tornado development. They're definitely going to help support those more tornadic supercells that we're expecting a little bit this evening. All right, so we're about to move on, and we're going to move forward. We're going to take a look at how high the Cape is going to be, and then we're going to move forward with our simulated radar, even look at our significant tornado parameter, and then we will finally get into our day 2 risk, which is going to hold more chance for severe weather as we move forward. All right, and here's our Cape amounts. As you can see here, we have generally 1,000 to 2,000 within those kind of greenish shades, and that's really that's sufficient for severe weather, but really it's these orange amounts that we're really looking at a good chance for severe weather development. And this is also going to help those really tall supercells develop. Usually in high Cape amounts, we usually look for high hail chances, and that's actually going to be the case today as we see that hatched region, probably because we're dealing with a pretty high amount of Cape here, which, if you don't know what Cape is, it stands for Convective Available Potential Energy, and all you need to know about it is I call it thunderstorm food. The thunderstorms eat these to grow bigger and stronger, and eventually they eat all of it away, and then they start to weaken once that occurs. So that's kind of a good description of what Cape is. Let's move forward with our simulated radar, and you can see by time we're reaching maybe about 7 or 8 p.m. on Thursday, you can see that we're going to start to see these thunderstorms expand southward. These are probably in the form of supercells here for southeastern Colorado, southwestern Kansas, and they're going to eventually be moving southward to the panhandle of Oklahoma. So as we can see here, this one's maybe by about 12 or 1 a.m. heading into Friday, and you can see they start to become more I guess multicellular is what we call them. We call these connected thunderstorms, and they're usually a little less chance for tornado. But as we move forward, we're going to take a look at that significant tornado parameter, and it's actually quite moderate, so we are going to have the chance for a couple tornadoes today. Here's that significant tornado parameter. Ignore those very high amounts to the south. We don't have thunderstorms in that area, so that's not going to be tapped into, so that's not going to become a factor today. If that was the case, we'd be looking at a much higher chance for tornadoes. But for now, we just want to pay attention to that area in the panhandle of Oklahoma, and then also in the extreme southern areas of Kansas there. That's where we have about a 2 to 4 rating on our significant tornado parameter, which is what we would call moderate risk. So I would say we're probably going to have a tornado or two, but it's not going to be an outbreak by any means either. So that's all I have to say about that. And by the time we're reaching about the middle of the night, heading into Friday, you can see it's probably about 4 a.m. or so. These storms are going to start to weaken and become more multicellular, which again lowers the chance for tornadoes, increases the chance for damaging winds. So we might see more damaging wind come out of the later portion of these, but really the tornado chance is going to dwindle quickly, and that's going to pretty much dissipate. Day 2, I don't have a lot to say about day 2. We really have only 2 areas of marginal risk, one there for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and then one also for the northern regions of our southeast states in through North Carolina and Virginia as well. Let's go ahead and look at those tornado risks since this video is primarily about tornadoes, and we will have a 2% chance here for Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri, so don't take this one too lightly because we might see a tornado or two tomorrow as well, which is going to be Friday and through Friday night into Saturday. So we might see this get increased as well. There's always a chance for that, so don't take it too lightly. But it's mostly day 3 that I want to talk about here. So day 1 and day 3. I want to talk about this day because we have a slight risk here for Nebraska and South Dakota. And I'm also eyeballing the chance for supercell development and also tornadoes that will go along with that. And the Storm Prediction Center has also mentioned that they're eyeballing the chance for some supercell development as well on this day, with tornadoes being possible. So we're going to take a look at our modeled guidance here for day 3. So you can see for South Dakota there and Nebraska, we're going to be in the mid to upper 70s, so not quite as high as day 1, but this will definitely be sufficient. And as we look at our bulk shear, you can see, again, we're kind of in that darker blue to purple shade, which, again, is going to give us kind of a slight to moderate chance for tornadoes, but not a high risk. For an outbreak, you need to be in the reds and yellows, basically, with the bulk shear to really support widespread tornado activity. So we're not looking at the chance for widespread tornado activity with these events. It's mostly going to be scattered in chances for tornadoes, probably the highest chances we've had in a while, though. So let's go ahead and take a look at our CAPE as well. And again, in the greens, we're at about 1,000 to 2,000, which is sufficient, but it's in those 2,000 plus amounts in those yellow shades that are definitely going to be much better for thunderstorm development and supercell development, especially. And you can see mostly for southern South Dakota and most of Nebraska, that's where that's going to be. So let's go ahead and look at our simulated radar. And by this point, which is going to be about kind of the late afternoon, early evening, you can see it's only showers. We haven't had our thunderstorms develop yet, but as we head towards about, I would say 8 p.m. or so, you can see we start to see some thunderstorm development there for Nebraska and South Dakota, and these are probably going to be in the form of early supercells. It's a little early to say, but I think that's pretty much the storm mode we're going to be looking at earlier on the day for what's going to be Saturday into Sunday. So let's go ahead and move on a frame, and you can see these start to develop even further, especially there for northern Nebraska. I think that's kind of the area I'm eyeballing most for these supercells and tornadoes to develop. Let's go ahead and look at that significant tornado parameter, and this is pretty much why you can see we have a 2 to 4 rating again, just like we did on day 1, but mostly for Nebraska there. So I think the highest chance for tornadoes on day 3 as of right now looks to be Nebraska, but things could obviously change. But for now, I'm thinking the southern region there of that slight risk has the most chance for tornado development. And as you can see, by time we reach our next frame, this kind of really dissipates, even though we will still have thunderstorms around, as you can see here. This is maybe by about 3 or 4 a.m. And so the chance for tornadoes as these storms mostly head into South Dakota is going to dissipate as far as tornadoes are concerned. And it's mostly going to become a wind event, just like day 1 did as well. So we're going to see these. Both of these events are pretty similar. They're just for different areas. We're going to see supercells early on with the chance for hail and also tornadoes, but they're mostly going to shift in later in the events, mostly turn into multicellular wind events. So it's going to be really interesting to see those pan out and see if they pan out that way exactly. All right, now for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how do you think June's going to go? Because yesterday I released kind of like an early look at June, and TJ said more of the same flip-flopping temperatures for June, and that's exactly what I expect as well. I don't think it will be overwhelmingly cold or overwhelmingly warmer than normal. I think that it's going to be all over the place, just like we've been seeing for kind of this later portion of May as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media, and we'll see you guys in the next video.